Hi there. I am pleased today to present another episode of Know Before You Buy, the Things We Love and Hate. And I will be interviewing my friend Tai Tomasi. Please enjoy this video. Hi, I am here with Tai, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. Give us your full name and the too short did not read.
Hey, my name is Tai Tomasi. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm totally blind and I've had progressive vision loss through my life, and I'm here to talk a little bit about appliance accessibility.
Excellent. So, Ty and I have known each other, on and off for several years now.
About 10.
About 10. God, that long. Okay.
Her dinner parties are legendary.
Careful, the audience is all going to want invitations. So we're here to give you another episode of the things we love and hate. So Ty, when you think about your own home, can you describe to us what you're living? Do you have a partner? Do you have children? Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what your home environment is like. Don't get personal, just
Sure. I live in a 3-level house with my partner and my guide dog, and yeah, I think that's it.
Great. So, you're a homeowner, and homeowners, we have to buy things for our homes on a regular basis. So what was the most recent purchase you made for, say, a new appliance?
Yeah, my most recent purchase, there were 2 of them actually. The LG TV that I bought. I've had pretty good luck with the app. I've heard some mixed experiences sometimes with LG, but so far so good with this app.
That's the ThinkQ app?
Yes, correct. The ThinkQ app with the 65-inch TV. It's been pretty good. The remote has a little bit of braille on it, stuff that we like on the channel and volume area, and it's been pretty accessible so far.
Cool. And you're able to get into the settings on that TV, am I correct?
I am.
That's awesome. So you're able to turn on your own audio description.
That's
and turn
correct.
It off.
That's correct.
That's really freaking cool.
Yes.
So what don't you like about that TV? Because this is the things we love and the things we hate.
Yeah, so I think the keyboard entry on that could be a little better. It's actually easier for me to hook up my Apple TV to the device and use the Apple TV and the Apple keyboard, attached keyboard to do that entry, whereas entering into the native apps is a little clunky.
Let's dig into that a little bit. So it's been a while since I've used an Apple TV, but if I remember, it's your standard 3-line keyboard, and you arrow, to the line you want, and then across, and so forth. Mm-hmm. What's different about the LG one?
It's a little sluggish when you're arrowing through the results, and it was a little difficult to learn where all the things were. Whereas I was kind of used to the Apple layout, this layout was a little different, and it was hard to find different things. It was also difficult to know whether you had enabled the caps lock or the shift selector to do capital letters was not identifying whether it was on or off.
So that's really key, because if you have to look up, say, something that's all caps, you can't find it.
Correct.
That's really key, and
then it also wouldn't raise the pitch or tell you in any way that you were entering capital letters.
I mean,
so that's a little frustrating.
That's a standard that's been around since DOS.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, DOS screen readers did that, so we're talking the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Screen readers knew to do that, and this one's not doing it.
Correct.
So come on, LG, let's think about this one.
Exactly.
And the other thing you mentioned there is standardized keys and where they are. You kind of get used to the idea on devices now that if you're using an on-screen keyboard, the things have places like periods and backspaces and stuff like that. And from what I'm intuiting, for what you're saying, is that those are not in the standard places.
Yeah, they didn't seem to be in the same places I was used to. And whereas with the Apple TV, you can actually have it send to your phone and enter from your phone. The LG utility to do that, it didn't seem to be bringing me to a keyboard in the ThinkQ app like I expected it might do.
Interesting, very interesting. Now, I find it absolutely fascinating that when I install ThinkQ on my Android device, it tells me I can use my phone as a remote control, even though I don't have any devices that need remote control. So it's like, and it's taking up an accessibility service, and I find that a little. I don't want non-accessibility apps to take over accessibility services.
I agree.
I mean, let me talk about the things I hate is we've been mandated at work to all use LastPass. And LastPass on my phone won't autocomplete unless I turn it on as an accessibility service. And that's not accessibility. That's just them being lazy and hooking in the wrong, well, and inappropriately hooking in the wrong way.
I agree.
So, we've only got a couple minutes today, but, what is the one thing that in your life that you love using at your home? Like, is there like a dream device?
I've really been enjoying my Peloton bike. You probably heard people talking about their Peloton bikes before. Has anyone on your show talked about that before?
Not yet, no, but I mean, I've got people saying, oh, come talk about my Peloton bike.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that. It's very accessible. Certainly, I mean, it has talkback, so a lot of standard features, and we do have some criticisms of that, but in general, it's been a really useful experience. I have the Bike Plus, and so the Bike Plus will actually adjust your cadence and your resistance when you're riding, when you're in a class that's been pre-recorded. So that's pretty nice that it will do that for you, and you don't have to touch the screen and then adjust the knobs yourself.
And that's the more expensive.
That is
version.
The more expensive version.
Is that their top of the line model?
Yes.
So
you can do it without the Bike Plus. It's just a little bit more convenient to not have to find it and see what number range you're supposed to be in and then try to adjust.
And I wonder about that because I've actually heard some people say that you do have to buy the more expensive one to be able to use things like that.
Yeah, that's a drawback. It should be perhaps standard on all the models so that it would be a little bit more accessible to everyone.
But you like using it.
I do enjoy using it. Another thing that I really enjoy using is my Tavola oven. I'm not sure if you guys have talked about that before.
I actually am working on a review of one.
Excellent.
It's
been pretty good. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about things today that we love and hate, but that one's been pretty good. There's been a few little issues, but for the most part, it's pretty accessible.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, it's going to be a real game changer, the Tavola, but I really dislike their model of you've got to buy their meals.
Yes.
It'd be much better if their meals, for example, would let me choose, like, send me 15 proteins in 3 different preparations.
Sure.
Instead of, you get, you order a chicken that's got nut crusting, and then you have to try and figure out which package is the chicken in the box.
Yeah, that's true. They don't have good labels in the box. I did order the meals for a few weeks as required, and then I just started using regular stuff that I bought from the store, and you can actually program your own recipes into the app so that you can make your own recipes. You can also scan items from Trader Joe's to make items that are not bought from them directly.
And what we've done, the people who've been working on the review with me is we actually, looked at one of their dishes that they created. We bought it once, and then we've reproduced it ourselves.
Yeah, you can definitely reproduce things once you've seen it.
Because you can do a little bit more, with, first of all, their meals are really small. And then if you reproduce it yourself, you're able to go in and, make something for 2 people instead of 1 person, or if you're having 3 or 4 people over. It's not my thing, because I love to cook, and the Tavola is really much, but it's something that my husband and I used several times when we were in crisis work mode, and, 5 o'clock came around and we had no idea what was for dinner, just pull some Tavolas out of the
I appreciated the ability to set a recipe. You could tell it to steam for a while, or broil for a while, or you can bake for a while, and you can kind of set up your own system. For example, I buy cookies at the local grocery store, and I put in how to make those cookies, and it just does it for me. I just
and the nice
pick
thing
that recipe. And
the nice thing about that is you put 2 cookies in, and you're not stuck with
exactly.
Like
you don't have to make a whole batch,
and you don't get over fat.
And I also like that I can reheat leftovers in a way that's really nice and keeps everything crunchy. I hate soggy leftovers, so that's a good way to do that.
Yeah, and I love that steam feature. It's really nice. I understand the new model doesn't have a steam anymore.
Oh, I didn't know. I wasn't aware of that. I have the older one with the steam. Oh, I like the steam.
The steam is great. But I'll talk about that more in the full review of that. But it's great to hear that somebody, who's using it really likes it. So, we're drawn to a close here, but can you tell us, what is the one thing that you would like to say to manufacturers about these things?
Start talking to the disability community about making sure that things are more accessible and really listening to what we need, not what folks think we might need. What is it that a blind person needs to be able to operate an appliance or a washer dryer, and really and then publicize those things. It can't be just for that one blind person that did the advocacy. It needs to be out there and readily available for everyone. And that's something that I've seen a lot of. There's a lot of insider information that people have, and companies need to make it transparent so that we know that there are braille overlays for things like that.
Exactly. And train your customer service, damn it.
Oh yeah, the customer service reps never know that these things exist.
Exactly.
Or very rarely do they know that these things exist.
Or the worst part for me is, one of my reviews I've done in the past, a person from another country said, they called the customer service and said, well, that's only in the United States. Accessibility is global, and you should make if your products are available globally, they should be accessibly globally.
Agreed. No boundaries on that.
Well, Tai, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your day
Thank
today.
you so much.
And I really appreciate your help.
I look forward to your other reviews.
Thank you. Thank you for watching today's episode of Know Before You Buy the Things We Love and Hate. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to subscribe, click like, and leave me any comments. And join me next time for another episode.